Nigeria is eating up her own. It is no longer news that Nigeria happened to the renowned Chimamanda Adichie, who lost her 21-month-old son on the 6th of January 2026. A lot of people have been reacting differently. Now we're going to be looking at the official statement released by Chimamanda herself on what transpired and how everything happened. And at the end, we'll be looking at reactions from well-meaning Nigerians. Let's go. Now this is from Arise News. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, who recently lost her 21-month-old son, released a statement detailing the circumstances surrounding his death. Arise News reached out to Adichie's media team, who confirmed that she did author the statement. According to her representatives, the message was originally sent privately to family members and a few close friends. My son would have been alive today if not for an incident at Uracare Hospital on January 6th. We were in Lagos for the Christmas. Nkanu had what we first thought was just a cold, but soon turned into a very serious infection and was admitted at Atlantis Hospital. He was to travel to the US the next day, January 7th, accompanied by traveling doctors. A team at Johns Hopkins was waiting to receive him in Baltimore. The Hopkins team had asked for a lumbar puncture test and an MRI. The Nigerian team had also decided to put in a central line used to administer IVF medication in preparation for Nkanu's flight. Atlantis Hospital referred us to Uracare Hospital, which was said to be the best place to have these procedures done. The morning of the 6th, we left Atlantis Hospital for Uracare. Nkanu carried in his father's arms. We were told he would need to be sedated to prevent him from moving during the MRI and the central line puncture procedure. I was waiting just outside the theater. I saw people, including Dr. M, rushing into the theater and immediately knew something had happened. A short time later, Dr. M came out and told me Nkanu had been given too much propofol by the anesthesiologist, had become unresponsive and quickly resuscitated, but suddenly Nkanu was on a ventilator. He was incubated and placed in the ICU. The next thing I heard was he had seizures, cardiac arrest. All this never happened before. Some hours later, Nkanu was gone. It turned out that Nkanu was never monitored after being given too much propofol. The anesthesiologist had just casually carried Nkanu on his shoulders to the theater, so nobody knew when exactly Nkanu became unresponsive. How can you sedate a sick child and neglect to monitor him? Later, after the central line procedure, the anesthesiologist casually switched off Nkanu's oxygen and again decided to carry him on his shoulder to the ICU. The anesthesiologist was criminally negligent, criminally in capital letter. He was fatally casual and careless with the precious life of a child. No proper protocol followed. We brought in a child who was unwell but stable and scheduled to travel the next day. We came to conduct basic procedures and suddenly our beautiful little boy was gone forever. It is like living your worst nightmare. I will never survive the loss of my child, Amanda. We have now heard about 2 previous cases of this same anesthesiologist overdosing children. Why did Uracare allow him to keep working? This must never happen to another child. A very painful experience. No murder. No one should be allowed to go through the pain of losing a child. The pain of losing a loved one is so unbearable and a heavy weight to carry. Now let's look at how some well-meaning Nigerians reacted. This is from Ifeokeke. And he says, I remember when my driver Monday and I were at Maitama Hospital waiting for the father of the former classmate to arrive for emergency care. And the people at the morgue rushed out with a body on a stretcher, shouting, Doctor, doctor, this man never died. The doctor, without any urgency, asked them to leave the man outside the entrance of A&E, where we were standing. He brought a mobile screen to give the man some privacy. No one attended to him. After a few minutes, the doctor returned to say the man was now dead and they should take him back. I couldn't believe it. We found out he was a young man who was brought in after medical emergency. He had no family member around. Carelessness or anyhowness, as you would call it in Nigeria, has no place in medical care. Since the regulatory and supervisory body continue to fail Nigerians, let's start naming and shaming careless and wicked medical staffs, hospitals, and clinics publicly. We must save lives. Now, this is from Don Tobechukwu, and he says, two prominent Nigerians came to Nigeria for the holidays, and their life turned upside down, putting their families in disarray. Chimamanda and Anthony Joshua. Even if you have money in Nigeria, Nigeria can happen to you and mess you up. It is not about money, it is about sanity and survival. This is extremely sad. May Nigeria never happen to us. I say amen to that. And this is from Nabi Bello, and he says, when friends fully settled outside Nigeria say they are coming to visit, I get very angry. You escape death while the rest of us are struggling every day to keep our lives intact. You decide you want to visit. Anthony Joshua was lucky. Many returnees were literally killed. Okay, and we have different screenshots of those Nigeria actually happened to while visiting Nigeria. Now, this is from Today in Nigerian History, and it says, no matter how rich and influential, Nigeria will happen to you if we don't organize and chase out APC in 2027. And this is from Aji, and he says, Nigeria can happen to anyone, regardless of financial or social status. In America, Nkanu will still be alive. This is from Chief Njoko, and he says, the system of Nigeria is structured to function in a way that the system does not care about how much you have. The moment you cross that line where the only thing that can save you is a functional system, not money, you are in Nigeria, then it's a wrap. Quite unfortunate and quite sad. Nigeria happened to Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie in the worst possible way. And we saw some people, who were quick to throw jabs. This is real news that thank God it happened abroad, not knowing it happened in Nigeria. That Nigeria would have, blamed it on the healthcare system, blame Nigeria, blame doctors, blame whatever. And at the end of the day, it happened in Nigeria. How long do we continue to lose our own to avoidable death? When will Nigeria stop eating up her own? 2027 is around the corner. Just know that it can happen to anybody. We need to organize and take out bad government and governance completely from the scene so that Nigeria doesn't happen to you or your loved ones. We have seen it. Money cannot save you in Nigeria. And I pray, may Nigeria never happen to us. Amen. Let's have your thoughts rolling.